Okay, we are recording. All right. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 38, section 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Westborough Recreation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at www.town.westborough.ma.us. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen and watch the meeting may do so in the following manner. A recording of this meeting will be posted on westboroughrec.com. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will post on the Westborough Recreation website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after this meeting. Oh, can't wait till that's over. All right, so I think this was, I think most of you know, the selectmen want us to come before them tomorrow night at their meeting to, I guess, explain, justify the decision to close the beach. So I know I sent out some details today about all of our different accounts. So if you would just want to start, if you have questions or if you just kind of want to discuss really whatever you want to talk about, we can. The agenda is pretty broad. So if we want to go through the accounts, I know Brian and Earl and Stephen and Adam obviously know how municipal finances work, especially ours. But if you guys want to kind of get a better understanding before tomorrow night, I'm happy to answer whatever questions. Or if we just want to talk about the beach, we can do that. So up to you guys.
What you sent in made sense. I don't have any specific questions about it. I just didn't feel previously that I could have answered all the ins and outs of the accounts. Not that necessarily was my responsibility, but if someone were to ask, I don't know how I could have justified the balance that we had and sort of what it made up. And I think the question would be, in my mind, you know, we made a decision at the time that we did based on the facts that we had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was not a lot of guidance coming from the state, a lot of concern about the responsibility that we were placing on young adults,
Mm-hmm.
and the amount of monitoring and cleaning and distancing that would need to happen felt like a very high hurdle at the time. And that was even before we got into the economics of running the facility. And so I don't think much of that has changed based on where we are today. And so I think in our mind, the equitable thing to do at the time was to just keep it closed and not perform the weekly testing that's done when the beach is open,
Mm-hmm.
and not give a mixed message of the gates are open, but it's not staffed.
Right. That's exactly it. And I reread the guidelines today that was dated June 6th, and they were, back when we made the decision, they were saying that maybe in phase 2, the toweling area may be reduced to 6 feet. But from this memo that's dated June 6th, the toweling, like where you would put your towel out, there should be a 12-foot distance. So it's still a pretty significant distance that we would have to social distance. And I think it would just make more people upset at this point than help anybody. That's just my feeling on it. Sorry, Bill, were you going to say something?
Actually, I was just going to say, I think Colleen said it perfectly for
really
how
did.
I don't see how we as a committee can endorse and recommend that we open the beach at this stage. I just don't feel that we've got the right direction. I'm just going to repeat what Colleen said, so I'm not going to do that. But I feel strongly that we should not open the beach this summer. Based on
So I think an idea that's been floating around at the past selectmen's meetings is to just open the gate, which I really don't feel comfortable with.
I don't either.
I love this. I wish I could have taken a video of all the heads just going, no. Yeah, I live in Marlborough, and there's a beach in Marlborough, and Marlborough opened their parking lot, but have no staff there, and it's a disaster. Like, it's very, very, very bad. I know Marlborough's different, the city, there's more people anyway, but it sounds like word got out that there's an open waterfront come on down. You need just the trash. I mean, the trash that I've read, and just even now the trash. I was in the parking lot this morning. It was awful, and that's the gates are closed. So now we're going to have the gate open, inviting, and more people. I just don't think it's a great idea.
I do think in the past when you've had the gates open and staffed, we could at least limit the attendance to those that bought a pass and fell within the provisions of like who the beach was for.
Mhm.
And if we just open the gates and provide no staff, it's limitless as to who can come.
Exactly.
That's right.
I look at it either you're open or you're not open.
I agree. That's how I feel.
Yep, I agree.
And then leaving the gates open at night isn't a good idea either.
No.
Right. So what if they come back and say, we want you to open? Like, what's it going to take to open?
We would need lifeguards. I sent an email to all of them today saying, basically, don't get your hopes up, but if there was work, could you work? I haven't heard from any of them, but I sent it later in the afternoon. I don't know, sometimes kids are slower on email. If I texted them, might get a better answer, but I'd have to try to find lifeguards. And I think at this point in the summer, never mind, if we found the lifeguards, there's an open, there's a waterfront training that has to be done. So I'd have to schedule that with Brian Doherty. We need at least a day for beach setup, putting the ropes in the water and all that. Then never mind just re-educating everybody that now you need a pass. We're gonna have to switch the way we do passes to that weekly format, because unless, like I was talking to Earl earlier, unless we're being way over conservative and the Board of Health and the Board of Selectmen say, no, you don't have to follow that. You can just sell passes how you used to. We would have to dramatically reduce the amount of people that we let on the beach. It would be Westborough residents only, no Northborough. So that's more angry people. Just you get into it and there's just not a lot of pros.
And how about the bathrooms? Who's going to take care of that? And there must be special protocols for the bathrooms now, right?
So the bathrooms, I looked into that. So they do need to be cleaned daily, and the CDC cleaning is more than we do. The lifeguards don't clean the toilets. Like it's like trash, spot cleaning if there's something, but the CDC recommends that you're like cleaning toilets, stalls, and all daily, and then weekly you're supposed to deep clean. There's not much information on what a deep clean is, but the lifeguards have always been responsible for cleaning. So that maybe do we have to hire a company to come in? I don't know.
So Jen, it sounds to me like we should have all these points itemized and be prepared on each point, whether it's financial, whether it's about sanitary, whether it's about patrolling the beach, limiting the beach.
Yeah.
How do the organization of how we sell the the passes now, like every single thing should be itemized, and then we should have an answer for each of those, because I think what's going to happen is we've all probably been in these debates, right? Someone's going to latch on to one point, and if we don't clearly articulate our rationale behind that point, then they're going to think they got us, when really there's 9 or 10 other points that we absolutely overwhelmingly are right, but we might not have had the right answer for one point. So I don't want to lose on one point. I want to be prepared for every one of them.
Yep.
Bill, let me tell you something. We make the final decision here. Christie, even the town manager, said that at last selectmen's meeting.
Okay.
It's our call, We've already called it, and I'm with Brian and everybody 100%. Either we go back to fully open the thing or we close it, one or the other. There's no halfway here, because we're generating a lot of trash, and it puts a lot of strain on DPW right now to go in there 3 days a week, which they normally don't do in beach time, because we have lifeguards there that dump the bags all day long, and we have a Harvey dumpster there, and they pick up and keep the beach clean. Now, Jen went down there today, down the beach wasn't too bad, but the parking lot across the street was horrendous. It was terrible. The trash barrels were overflowing. They were dumped Friday, but nobody's here all weekend to do that. Right. And there was trash all over the parking lot. You picked up almost a full bag of trash out of the parking lot. And now you got the bathrooms to deal with, which is a problem. But my question on the bathrooms, and I said I was going to go down and see Steve about the thing. You can put porta johns out to the area. Who's cleaning them?
That's right.
They're getting cleaned once a week. So, if you open the thing, like the other night, uh, Shelby said that you'd have to open the gates for the handicap. Well, that's a double gate that you could drive a car into, you know? I mean, you know, it just sounds very irresponsible on the town's behalf just to open the gates and let anybody else come in. I think it would just be a mess down there, you know, and there'd be no bringing it back next year, trying to run it with the gates closed and things like that. I just think we need to stick to our guns on this. I don't have any problem going toe to toe with the selectmen tomorrow night on this at all. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of common sense. We're kind of stuck between, you know, like I said, this pandemic has put so much hardship on everybody, and having the beach open is way down the line compared to people that can't go see their loved ones.
That's right.
Couldn't have a funeral, or couldn't have a wedding or a graduation. Having the beach, and the beach is not closed. I mean, it's closed as far as the gates are locked, but everybody, I mean, this weekend the place was packed, you know. I mean, people go around the gate and get in, and it's been that way forever, and nobody's ever had a problem with it.
And I think, Bill, I did send them an itemized list of all of this, because the first meeting I went to, one of the selectmen, I emailed Christy, I said, I didn't like how it ended, so can I provide more information? I get a little nervous on that platform because it's televised on Westborough TV. This is public too, but that's public, and you can be misquoted, and I just get I don't like public speaking anyway. But so I said, can I provide some more information? And so I sent them all an itemized list and the breakout of how much we would lose. So I have that prepared, but I think what they're going to harp on is that they want the gate just to be open. And I talked to Frank today, the old rec director, yep. Just to get a little bit of history on how the rec commission came to be, like the governing body of like who makes the decisions, and see if he knew. And he didn't really know, but he was saying that it's always been this way. He's like, we used to just say, swim at your own risk. He's like, we wouldn't even say on the phone, the beach is closed. He's like, we'd say, swim at your own risk. There's no one there. The beach is closed. That's it. And so I think it's a known thing. I don't know. I don't understand why they want the gates open, what difference that makes. So I think that's where the sticking point is going to be tomorrow night. But who knows? I could be totally wrong. It could be something totally different.
Well, I actually would not, and granted it would not be the work that I would need to personally take on, but if we wanted to entertain, reverting our decision and opening it fully, I don't think that's a better option to me, but someone is going to need to incur all the costs associated with that, right? And that's just another hurdle. So I agree. I don't think there's a middle ground. It's either keep it closed or open it. And it's like opening it on steroids, because it's everything else that needs to happen in order to open.
Exactly.
For 4 or 5 weeks, right? Which is what we're really looking at.
Right. I just don't think you could leave the gate open. That's just not an option. So, okay. So I don't know how tomorrow night we'll go. We've never done a joint meeting with the selectmen before. So we'll see. So we're on the agenda for 7. I'll send you, that is a Google Meet, so I'll email you the link to get on. I would get on a few minutes before 7 if you can, but be prepared that we might not even get to our thing until like 7:30. It just depends on how the agenda goes. And then
should we decide like who should answer the questions?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Earl and I kind of talked about that, maybe having a spokesperson for the group. I don't know who.
Well, I don't think we need to bring the whole circus to town to the other circus, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to, I mean, Jennifer, you should be there. And I mean, I don't have any problem speaking for her. I am the chairman of the commission, but
yeah.
If somebody else would like to speak in behalf, I don't have a problem with that, you know?
And I think you all could be there in case there's something comes up. I mean, if you can, you jump on the meeting, just keep it on mute. And if something comes up, it might be good to have another voice or two. But yeah, I mean, if Earl, you want to just kind of take the reins, they sort of know you. And I know that you aren't afraid to say things.
And I'm not intimidated one bit by the board.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So everyone feels good with Earl being our speaker. And like I said, it would be good if you could jump on. Like I said, it's easy to just sit there just in case something else comes up. and they say, oh, well, what about the rest of your committee? Because I think they're expecting the commission to be there. So if everyone else can just be on the line, that would be good, just in case.
I'll be there, Jen. Can you make sure I have the information on how to get onto that?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's just it's gonna come from like it'll be from my email, but it'll be like a WebEx thing. I don't know. They set it up.
And is it, so are we just audio or are we video as well?
You can be video, but usually until I talk, I keep my screen off because it is on TV. Not that that matters, but there's a bunch of people that'll be on there anyway. You don't see everybody, but I just keep myself muted and.
All right, sounds good. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks. I feel good. This is what it is.
Earl, thanks for being the spokesperson too. That's awesome. Go get him, cowboy.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to give you a little update. We've added quite a bit of material at Greg's Field along the road that we're putting by the batting cages to get into the back of the softball field, so we can make a pitching area and a warm-up area back there, which we've talked about.
That's awesome.
So we're almost there, so that's come along pretty good this weekend. We had a project going on and we were able to get the material to put in there. So hopefully that'll be done, and conservation will be happy when it's done, because they're kind of antsy about getting it finished. So anyways, I wanted to give you an update on that. That's all. Oh, and one other thing that was brought to my attention in a phone call this afternoon, a pickleball player called me, and a woman, and she was very concerned about the in the center of the parking lot at Chauncey at the pickleball court. It's all lined off in yellow, so you can't park there, because it was the way it had to be laid out so you could have parking spots on it. Well, I guess this weekend people was zooming in and out of that area instead of going around. People go in through that, not observing that, but flying in and out of the parking lot there. So I'm kind of looking at talking to the powers to be at the DPW and maybe put a couple of Jersey barriers in the front of the area that you don't park in the middle of the parking lot. I know that's kind of the parking places, the way they laid out the parking spaces, so you can get in and out of it. There's a area in the middle that you don't park in. So I just think I'm worried about people flying in there on the weekend. So I'm gonna kind of monitor it. I hadn't even talked to Jen about it yet, because it just came up this afternoon on a late day phone call. But there was 2 or 3 women that were very nervous about it, and they were playing pickleball, and the cars were flying through the parked cars there, kids. And
hey, Earl, would it be just a regular concrete, or is it going to be a colored? You know how sometimes they have the orange or different colored Jersey barriers?
We do, and I'm going to ask up the DPW how they feel about that, because we do have those. They're made out of plastic or whatever to use for like if we have a water break or something like that, they put it up to, and the only thing with them is, they'll push them out of the way. Yeah. They're you could push them, right? You could just take it and push it out of the way,
Okay.
I don't know,
I think Earl, I think you can put weight in some of those orange ones.
You can wait to put water in them, Brian, or?
Water, I think that you can get some weight in, whether it's sand, like sandbags in them, so they're not as easy on, but.
Well, they'd be the thing to use instead of an old concrete one, I
think so too, yeah.
He's move it out of there.
Right.
Yeah. Earl, I had a quick question about the ball fields. Are we providing are we doing porta potties down at these places this year?
Oh yeah, they're there. Colleen was in charge of that. She put them all out.
Like rec isn't, Little League is.
Personally.
Little League did. Yeah, they're all out.
Colleen, are you cleaning them too, Colleen?
No, but I did put the kits together with instructions on how to clean them.
She was in charge of that from Little League.
Before and after every practicing game, and supplies will be there for anyone that wants to clean them if they use them. Don't know who those people are, but very
wow.
Good job. That's awesome.
Thanks. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, there's one at Rogers, because I've been working down there, and I made 2 new pitchers mounds down there. So The pitcher's mounds are finished and done. I finished the last one today. So we brought them up so they're actually a 10-inch high pitcher's mound. And for the 2 small fields and the big diamond, I just added some material to it, and that was it. But the fields are in great shape down there, and the place is dry as a bone. You could drive all over it with a car or a truck, or it's like it should be, but the only thing the drought has done is really opened Rogers up, so that's very playable. It's fine, and it's green too. It looks good down there.
Well, that's great. We just had to play ball.
No.
Yeah,
Hopefully soon.
that's the next thing.
First practice tonight at Greg's Field.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
12 you girls.
That's awesome.
Oh, good. That makes me happy. Okay. So we'll see everyone tomorrow night.
All right.
Okay.
Wait.
Real
Bye-bye.
deal.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.